Alright folks, this is our annual Chinese New Year celebration, and I am about to introduce you to Waterborne's Flambe duck. So the first step in getting the duck to flambe and start out is just to make sure we have all our supplies and utensils ready. So first of all, I got the oven preheated at 350. So what I do is I braise the duck first, and then we will actually add a little brandy, flame that sucker up, get it nice and crisp, and then throw it in the oven at 350 degrees. So first off, I have the searing pan. In the searing pan, I have some orange peel for some clementines, crushed garlic, a little olive oil, and some brandy. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our duck, which we've already cleaned, if you can see that right there on the right hand side, and we're going to get the pan superheated. We're going to put the duck breast down, get that nice and sizzling, and we're going to flame it and go on. Also, you can see that I've removed all the special parts, as I call them, out of the duck: the gizzards, the liver, the neck. This is going to be used for a gravy. It's going to be poured over the duck right before it's done. It's going to make it really good. And once again, what we have in the pan there is we have some garlic, regular olive oil. We also have some sesame oil to give it a little punch and flavor. And my good friend St. Remy here, a little brandy. That'll help with the flame. And then finally, we also have some orange juice, nicely fresh squeezed orange juice, that's from the clementines. So let's go. First thing we're going to do is get this nice and heated. And the oven is, like I said, on at 350. I actually have my ribs cooking in the oven, and they're looking like they are almost ready to come out and kind of be stowed aside for a little while. So I'm waiting for that to heat up. I'm going to go ahead and make some room for those ribs, get those suckers out so they don't overcook. Worst thing in the world is overcooked ribs. Now those ribs have been cooking at 250 degrees since about, I'd say, 2 o'clock this afternoon. So right now it's 5, so almost 3 hours. By the time we're all said and done, I'll put them back in for a little bit, so about 4 to 5 hours cooking on the ribs. So while we're waiting for this pan to get nice and hot, I'm going to pull out these ribs for you. And these ribs are my own special 5-spice secret sauce ribs. Let's see if I can get it. There you go. You can see them right there. There's some dark beer in here. There's some a little bit of brandy, some 5-spice, some garlic, all kinds of good stuff. And of course, since it's Chinese New Year, we never skip. There's ribs number 2 there. In addition to the ribs tonight, we're going to have all kinds of good stuff. Fresh made dumplings, some spicy tofu created by my my better half, Michelle. And then we're also going to have hot pot, some seafood hot pot, which hopefully we'll get a little review on later. And finally, 3rd rack of ribs there. Once again, we're going to let those sit out for a little bit so they don't get too overdone. Alright, so this should be gearing up pretty soon here. Want to make sure it's well mixed. Like I said, you want to make sure it's nice and hot. You don't want to put the duck into a cold pan. You want the pan to be nice and hot and ready to cook. So we'll let that go. Some other things we have over here, just so you guys can see while we're waiting. We have some diced hot peppers. This is going to go as a garnish on the hot pot. And we also have diced cilantro and green onions, which is also going to be part of the hot pot garnish. I almost forgot our orange peel for the clementines. Not sure if you can see that with the light in here, but there's orange peel from the clementines. That's actually in here, and they'll also go in the gravy that we make from all the good fixings a little bit later. Alright. Starting to get a little steam coming up, so I'm going to take my first duck, and most important thing is to figure out which side's the breast first. So that's the breast right there. We're going to put that breast down. And we're going to let this sucker just sear up. You'll hear it crackling. It'll be going really good. And once we get it all seared up, we'll pour a little more brandy on top of it. The other thing I like to do is, you see this is the neck flap right there. I like to pour brandy inside it to sear the inside as well. Alright, you can start to hear it start to fizzle, start to get moving up. You really want to brown and sear the outside of that breast so it's nice and crispy once it's all said and done. So it takes a little bit of time searing up. You can hear, hopefully you can hear that gurgling there. While we're waiting for that to get nice and warm and hot, we're going to take a little Remy Martin right here. Give our duck a little drink down the middle, get that inside. Pour a little more on the outside there because we want to make sure that we get the backside nice and flamed up as well. Now when I sear this, I only sear the breast side. I don't want anybody to get confused. The whole duck is going to cook in the oven, and we'll cook that duck once again at 350 degrees, but we really want to sear that breast meat. The coolest thing about duck is having a nice crispy skin on it so that when you cut into it, it kind of got that crunch. My pan, and I'll be moving the ducks into this nice all-clad roast pan, which will be going in the oven. And the other thing that I'm missing that's very important are the utensils to pick up the duck once it's done. So basically you gotta I go in one side and in the other with the duck, pick it up and put it in. This wooden spoon is also important because once we get this thing burning, you want to be able to lift that up and go. So what I'm going to try to do, hopefully this will work out, is once I get the duck flaming, I'm going to turn off the light, and hopefully you can see the effect of the brandy burning off. Now once again, we want to make sure that this is nice and seared. We don't want to jump the gun on the flambe. Lift the duck up there, make sure that it's getting nice and moist underneath there. Sometimes I also use a kind of a rub on the duck, but I kind of used a rub on the I actually did use a rub on the ribs there, so we don't want to duplicate things too much. We're going to have a nice roasted orange duck, and then we're going to have the ribs. So we want to have two different tastes. We don't want to replicate tastes over the course of the meal here. Alright, move this over just a little bit more so you can get a good shot of the duck when we get it all flamed up there. It's boiling really nice. The other thing you want to look at is how everything cooks down underneath the duck. So once again, we have our orange juice, we have our olive oil, we have our sesame oil, we have our Remy Martin brandy, and we want to make sure that that's all mixing up and cooking nicely. And then once we get this thing all done, I'll flip it over and you'll be able to see that the breast of the duck is nice and brown. Alright, so I think we're just about ready to start with the first flambe, and we have two ducks. And I'm just going to run you through the first duck so this video is not too long. But what we're going to do is go ahead and turn out the light. There you go. Hopefully you can see that nice and flambeing. Now once again, the key here is to make sure all that brandy cooks off. So you want to pick up the duck. See that? You see a nice flambe going on there? Got to be careful now because you don't want to burn down the house or burn off your hand or anything like that. But that's actually helping the breast to sear a little bit better as well. And burn off a little bit more of that brandy. Make sure that we get the flame inside there because you know we got a lot of cognac inside the duck. You can still see it. It may be hard to see on the camera, but there's still a little bit of flame going on there. Alright. And just because I'm a little glutton for punishment and I got a lot of brandy today, I'm going to give it one more coat on the outside because I'm not quite happy enough with that burn. Once again, we want the backside to be just as crisp as the front when we're all said and done. And what I'm going to do is open up the neck a little bit. There's still a lot of brandy in there. We want to make sure that gets all sizzled out. So here we go, second flambe. There you go. And the other thing you want to make sure is that you do not let that fire come out over the duck there, over the side of your pan. So once again, we get the nice flambe. And this time, since I'm concentrating on top of it, it's a little warm, I want to make sure that the top gets nice and burned off. You can start to see that the top's browning a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but there is a little bit of browning to the top now. Let's check our bottom here. It's getting there almost. A few more minutes. So that's the first of the duck flambés. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I'll show you the after effects once everything is cooked and done. So what we're going to do is once this cooks down a little bit more, we're going to transfer it over to the roast pan, stick it in the oven for about 1.5 to 2 hours at 350. and then everybody's going to enjoy some roasted duck to celebrate the Chinese New Year. Anyway, thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you on the other side of the dinner here.